In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down and describing the support role in Predecessor. This is to help you better understand the role and ultimately decide if this is the role for you. Hey guys, I'm Stinky Queso. After already putting in hundreds of hours into Predecessor and countless more into other MOBAs, I understand how confusing these games can be. And with almost no information online explaining how to play Predecessor or any of its roles, I'm here to help you not only become more knowledgeable of the game, but also figure out which of the 5 in-game roles best suits you. When you spawn into the game, as support you will always be heading towards the dual lane. Whether you spawn on the light or the dark side of the map, this lane will always remain in the same location. Dual lane is situated in an outer lane next to the Fangtooth objective with a gold buff just outside of the lane. There is going to be one main buff for the dual lane to be focusing on throughout the game. Gold buff, located in a cutout next to dual lane, will be one of the main focuses for the dual lane. This buff, as the name implies, gives the person who kills it gold and experience. It is important to try and help your carry kill this buff anytime it respawns, unless there's no time to get to it or you face the risk of death if you try to obtain it. While it won't be the end of the world if the enemy is constantly securing the gold buff, it will set them further and further ahead the more the game progresses, and set your carry further and further behind. There's going to be one main objective for the support throughout the entirety of all your games. Protect your allies. More specifically, your carry. This should be accomplished by any means, mainly just using your abilities provided to you in your kit, but this could also even mean sacrificing yourself to protect your carry. If you're playing more of a tanky support who can afford to take damage, such as Steel or Richter, then you need to be the frontline for your carry. You need to act as an immovable wall for the enemy so that they can rarely ever touch your carry and pretty much never kill them. You should be utilizing your stuns and slows to halt any advances they try to make. If you're more of a heal or utility support, such as Narbash or Muriel, then your job gets a little harder. You shouldn't be trying to frontline all of the damage from the enemies, but you shouldn't be behind your carry either. Here, you'll still be using stuns and slows to halt the enemy, but your main focus is to heal or empower your carry. Going back to tanky supports, you're going to want to build items that give you armor and health to allow you to sustain damage over time. You can also build a little bit of damage into your kit to be a more aggressive support, but this does have drawbacks, so be aware. For utility supports, mana is huge. Do not skip out on mana items, as abilities are most likely the entirety of your functionality, but don't let these items take over the entirety of your build either. You should still build some items that will grant you sustain to allow you to stay in fights longer with your carry. But don't be worrying about builds just yet. Until you get a good grasp of the game, its mechanics, and an overall feel of how everything works, just stick to using the recommended builds. These builds are well rounded and for the most part should let you relax a little while you're still trying to learn the game. If you feel like you've gotten to the point where you're tired of using the recommended builds and you would like to start trying new builds, feel free to join my Discord in the description below where I've compiled a list of builds for you guys to use. During early game, whether you're ranged or melee, you should be providing your carry the ability and safety to farm. You should accomplish this easily by constantly poking the enemies. Just run up, hit them a few times, and establish dominance in the lane. Be careful doing this though, as it can easily lead to you being caught out and killed. But if you can do this correctly, you can relieve all of the pressure from your carry, allowing them to farm and get ahead. Mid-game will change a lot from game to game depending on the state of your carry. If your carry is well fed and is able to sustain themselves, then you can start to roam out of duo and start supporting other lanes if they're falling behind. But if your carry is on par with the enemy or behind them, you must stay with them. Leaving your carry and getting them killed only hurts them and yourself, as losing the lane will only apply pressure to you and will deny the ability for either of you to rotate. And late game is pretty simple. You should still follow the same understandings and rules from mid game, only rotating if your carry has the ability to sustain themselves and staying hip to hip with them if they can't. During team fights, if you're a tank, make sure to try and take focus for most to all of their team, using all CC that you can to alleviate pressure and damage to your team. And with utility supports, make sure to also utilize all of the CC you can, but more carefully to try and not die too early in the fight. If you apply all of these things that I've given you and give the best environment, farm, and support for your carry and your team, you're bound to win every game as support. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything new and helpful, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And before you head out, make sure to check out my channel for my other how to play videos to see if any of the other roles better suit you. Have a great day, guys. Peace.